Welcome to this new video. We finish the warning about scale and dimension with the exploration of the extrude node. We have the toggle box individual. It's for when we have multiple elements connected. We already see the dimension work with the box tick in the previous video. But if I untick it, you see the dimension is not the one expected. I suggest it's because of the normal. As you maybe notice, I multiply the value in the input with the normal of the faces. Like that, our value in the input for the axis was adjusted for each face. The normal is the vector perpendicular to the face. To understand what is the normal, we will use the for each zone and draw a line corresponding to the normal. To get the normal and the position, I use the attribute statistic node. Indeed, we want to use this property to define a unique value for the line start, which is not a field. Moreover, we want to transfer this data to one mesh to another, and not use an operation on geometry element, but define the starting data of a primitive. That means the operation could not retrieve data like we did in the previous for each zone. Let's go to use the repeat zone now. We continue with our chain of extrusion of the previous video. So I tap F3 to charge the repeat zone. That will be great if we could choose the resolution of our extrusion for each axis. To do that, we have to extrude multiple times in the same direction. For that, I add an extrusion in the repeat zone. Each time we want to extrude the top, so I connect it to the output of the repeat zone, and I connect the input which appears to the selection input of the extrusion. We have an issue for now because nothing is selected in the first iteration of the repeat zone. To do that, we can tick the box to the left of the repeat input. After, I connect the iteration sockets for the repeat zone to the group input. To finish, we just have to add a vector divide node to set the right distance. At this point, we have our line with resolution. We just need to duplicate that and connect it to create the group input and the good math. Don't forget to join the result of the last repeat zone with the result of the previous and merge point. It seems good in the viewport, but let me change the view to wireframe. You see the heads in the shape? This is not good. To change that, you have to remember the beginning of the video and untick the individual checkbox of the face extrusion. Now we have something nice, a cube with resolution built from a vertex, and as you see, it's not so much work. Moreover, we can put vertices inside the cube. That means we have a 3D grid. Now you can use point and instances to fill the shape. It can be useful to fill a box with objects. I will create a node group and mark it as an asset. Remember, an asset is a reusable data element like we did with the freefall rigid body simulation node group we polished in the previous video. I also organize the group with panels. On the links, we can create something called rewards. It allows us to create socket on the link. Like that, it's more clean. You can use the shortcut Shift plus right mouse button to create a reward, and Ctrl plus right mouse button to cut a link. This time, since our goal is to create geometry, we have to mark the object as an asset too. I advise you, never start a part you design by replacing the input geometry of the node tree. Otherwise, you will lose all connection already made by Blender in the mesh data. Don't forget, geometry node is a modifier. As you maybe see, I named this asset 3D grid and not base cube. The purpose of this demonstration wasn't to create the cube, but the grid and show you the extrusion. We will see the base shape later. That warning leads us to something important, the order of resolution between physics, modifiers, and constraints, and also the cycle dependency. To begin, I add rigid body and collision physics to our object and go back to the modifiers panel. As you can see, some physics are modifiers. Now let's add all physics and go back to the modifiers. This time, the soft body modifier is on top. If I try to put our geometry node modifier before, I get the error message, cannot move above the modifier requiring original data. It means you cannot use all physics and keep the non-destructive workflow. To solve this, you can apply the modifiers. I duplicate the object and apply the geometry node modifier to replace the original geometry, and it's good. But since the purpose of parametric design is to be modified, it will be boring. That is why we see the simulation at the beginning of the playlist. If we can use the physics simulation in the node, we can have a one-time workflow. If you think you doesn't need the physics to design, take a look about the generative design, which is driven by the dispersion of forces inside the material. Now let's go back to the object with the modifier and talk about cyclic dependencies. For now, the node that imports Susan is set to original. When I set it to relative, a cross appears on the right of the node. That says the object is not evaluated yet. This warning is not really about the geometry, but it's about the transformation of the geometry in space. In SolidWorks or other CAD software, you have different types of files for parts and assembly. In Blender, it's all in one file. That means you don't have to constrain the first part with the space of the assembly world, like we do usually in CAD software. It's really important because if you mix node design and viewport design, you have to select the right one. To demonstrate that, I will show you a new node, the Boolean node. I hide our southern grid, add a cylinder, and create a geometry node modifier. I add the Boolean node and grab the cylinder in the outliner editor to put it in the node tree. Then I connect it. In the Boolean node, you have three choices: union, difference, or intersection. I put the cylinder in wireframe view. You can do that in the Object tab under Viewport Display. Now we see the result of the Boolean operation. I move on the axis the cylinder and you can see that doesn't change the Boolean operation. Indeed, if we go back on Susan, the node is set to original. I set it to relative and the Boolean is working now. Do you see the orange dot inside the cylinder? It's its origin, like the origin of the part when you import one in an assembly in SolidWorks. And have you noticed it's the position of this point we see in the transform panel? You can apply transformation like you did with modifiers. I go back to Susan and set the node to original again and apply all the transformation with the shortcut Shift A. As you see, the transformation is all: the scale, the translation, and the rotation. Doing that puts the dot in the center of the world, and now the Boolean works again. So you can move the object which makes the hole in the 3D viewport to change the position of the hole in your part. But let's do the same with the transform node in the geometry node. I go to the cylinder and add one in the node tree. I move it to the z-axis and it's work. It's a big difference. If you come from CAD, it's like you edit the sketch. All the constraint you do outside the sketch is offset. Again, that leads us to something really important and really underestimated in Blender. There is a sketch mode by default. And you will discover it on this channel in few videos. But before, we have to talk about constraint in Blender and the issue with it. You have the subject of the next video. See you!